Hi, everyone. I'm Deborah Rosenblum. I'm the Chief Program Officer at Jewish Women International, and I'm going to share with you two very different examples of storytelling that we've used through our OVW grants. The first one on the left the program is called Boy to Mensch. Mensch is a Yiddish word. Yiddish is a combination of Hebrew and German that was spoken in Eastern Europe. And is still used widely in certain communities today. Mensch is a good guy. It's a nice guy. It's a responsible guy. It's the kind of guy that we want to be part of our communities. And the question that we were raising and this work was being done in Baltimore for the ultra-Orthodox community there. And the question that we were raising for everybody in the community is, how do you mensch? How do you become that good guy? How do you raise your sons to be that person? How do you yourself incorporate those values? And what we did was we created a series of posters that were shown throughout the community on electronic billboards, in places where people, in schools and synagogues, in kosher butchers and kosher bakeries, all these places where the community was, and on buses that went throughout the community with different examples of boys being responsible, boys being friendly, boys being responsible, boys being helpful. And it's through this kind of image of the visual storytelling, people were able to imagine themselves in that situation. They too played basketball. They too had fallen down. They too needed a helping hand, and they could stick out their helping hand. They could help somebody. They could be friendly and helpful and supportive within the context of what they do every day. And the reason that this was incredibly powerful was because we not only showed the question, but we asked people to think about their own lives. How do you mensch? Bring yourself into this story and say, would you be that guy who's offering a helping hand? Would you say, well, that person's on a different team, let him figure out how to get up by himself? One of the interesting things about this campaign was that there's different ways to spell in English. There is no actual English way to spell it, the word mensch, which is, as I said, a Yiddish word, and it needed to be from the community and of that community. And in this particular community, it's spelled this way with a T. We literally had a series of meetings where we were discussing how should we spell that word mensch. And the reason that the storytelling can be effective, is it feels that it's authentically part of that community. People in that community can see themselves there, so all the pieces need to look like that. The second, to the other side of the screen, is a very different way of approaching storytelling. Here we made a film, it's called As a Jewish Man, and it's 9 different men from different parts of the community, different backgrounds, different racial identities, different sexual identities, different levels of observance, different careers, everything different about them. What's shared with them is that they all identify as Jewish men. And it's a film that's broken up into several parts. Each part of the film can be taken as a small segment, a 5-minute segment, accompanied by a facilitator guide. And in this film, the men share their own stories, their own pressures, their own the expectations their families and their elements of the community had on them, and their challenges to being that good guy. How did different parts of society collide with their faith? How were they able to overcome that? What were the challenges that they faced? How were they able to use their faith as a affirmative element to help them create the men that they wanted to be? So very different ways. And here it's a narrative. So they're speaking about it. They're being really authentic themselves, being very honest, and sharing true stories about themselves, and inviting conversations for other people to share their own stories. So 2 different ways of doing it, one very visual and one really conversational, and inviting many people into that conversation. And both were incredibly effective.